Oh, there you go.
But guess what?
I'm going to. Okay. Sorry for the delay, everyone.
I would like to call the meeting to order. First item of business on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I motion that we approve the minutes as they are.
Seconded. I have to
Do
approve.
we all?
Yep. Yep.
Do we say we're all in?
All in-
All in favor?
all in
Yes.
agreement.
Yes, all in favor.
Okay.
Do we need to sign them?
Yes. Sorry. It's in the second or third page.
And do we have the treasurer's report?
We do. Somewhere in here. Sorry, I didn't put my papers in order.
And I do know that the treasurer had previously sent the financials and the report to the board. Does everybody have an opportunity to review? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the
Do we have
treasurer's
one
report.
to pass around or no?
No, it's just
Oh.
those two. So sorry, we can pass one of them. Yeah. And just to summarize for the group, our receipts for this is for August. Our receipts for August were $8,121. Our disbursements were $3,586. I did have to do a little revamping of this report to accommodate the fact that we've switched our investment. We're getting we got statements from two different investment companies because they switched from LPL to Ameriprise, but our ending ledger balance is $594,222.
Do we have a motion on the
Oh,
treasurer's
yeah,
report?
I did approve. I have a motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Treasurer's report is approved. I think we have some vouchers.
We do lots and lots and lots of them. Okay, so this one is Lebanon Utilities. This one
Fire
is,
hydrants.
actually there's several Lebanon Utility ones in here because we had one that was carried over from last month. This one is for Taylor Manette, Schneider and Clutter.
Is this his last invoice or current invoice?
Yeah. Now I actually paid several at once, so there's a single check that covers two or three of them. This one is for Howard. This was the partial payment.
For those of you who, we had the roads resurfaced. They had some issues where they had marred it up or there were things, so we had them come back out. I've gone around, it looked like they had repaired and blackened most of the spots that had appeared. So I met with Dave Lancet, who was the inspector. He and I met before this meeting, and I guess I'm kind of jumping ahead
That's okay.
with Howard. Anyway, does anybody have any, I mean, we made a partial payment. We didn't have any issues with Country Club Drive that we saw, but we have not made payment on Ulen Boulevard and East Drive as of yet. And I guess we'll do an update with that when we get there. Sorry.
I thought they did an okay job with their fogging. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Here's one for Lowe's. This is
It's
for
all,
the.
it's all
signposts.
covered, which was the idea to begin with.
Right. What is Lowe's? Oh, this was the
Signpost.
the poles.
Yeah. This was last month's water bill for the circles.
They have an irrigation meter.
Yes.
This one is for trash. This one is for masonry by Anderson. First of many.
Our monthly bill.
Our monthly bill, yes.
And so far, we have either, thank you to Joe, who lives on the corner, or I know you've been out walking. Everybody that's hit him has stopped. We've had the police come, make a report. They have filed a claim or made payment. So at this point, the town of Ulen has been fully reimbursed, like this one that we just had, which was the one on the east side of the circle.
And this one, my apologies, that one was actually from last month and it fell through the cracks. That one, that's for the signs, the printing of the signs for the no parking signs.
Actually, I know that circle was hit again by Chastain. Was it hit again? Because when I walked by today, it looked like there
We were wondering
more.
that.
That's what I said. I thought it looked a lot worse.
There were
Wow.
some guys out there working on it this morning.
So that's, okay, that's what I didn't know. So good to
Because
know.
it looked, yeah, I know. I kind of was like looking at it going, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
we
Did
saw
you
I
know-
did the
Yeah,
same thing. I
it
took a
was like-
picture and I asked her, I go,
Yeah. I was like,
I didn't
whoa.
remember it being
That
that bad.
This one is for Green Acre Outdoors. This is the young man who's doing our weeding and watering and such. And this one is for Brehab Nursery. That was for the replacement arborvitae.
Oh, I thought we were gonna buy them from either Lowe's or somebody who would warranty
Didn't have
them.
them. Didn't have them.
Probably this late in the season.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna wait until spring. Was I wrong on that?
Mark was working with them and they found ones that were the right height and went ahead. I
Well,
guess,
we've got several more that are
yeah,
not gonna make it.
looks like that. Okay,
I would recommend we not buy any more from them. It would be mine.
Cypress trees are better to be planted in the fall.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if these do any better.
Those things are hard.
Last month, we had a discussion and we did not have the ordinance to approve a salary change. For those of you guys, I'm not sure if everybody was here. The job of clerk treasurer has taken on way more than it ever used to be. And we're very blessed to have somebody who's as dedicated. And so we felt that that ought to be a paid position. She's spending
A lot of time.
a lot of time keeping us compliant with all the new laws, making sure everything gets filed. And so we do have an ordinance to approve her salary beginning January 1st.
and we did need to have this one done before we do our budget, so that's why that one needs to
Okay.
be signed first.
Are you going to get Mark to also sign? Because we have to sign down here.
Yeah, I don't know that all three of you are required, but yeah, and if it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have him do it next time.
Next on the agenda is the 2026 budget.
This one I think he does have to sign. Track him down. Okay, this is the, we did have a public hearing last month to go over the budget, so that's been pretty much agreed on. This is the state's required ordinance resolution, and we just need to sign up here. That's where it's on that one.
Mark, I.
Just confirming that we've adopted that budget. Okay.
Anything from the crowd on either the minutes or the treasurer's report? Or- Moving on then to the ongoing projects that we have. First is the road work completion, which I jumped ahead. Letting everyone know, I had not received any additional feedback with regard the fogging. It made it it will fade and be less noticeable, but at least it is all black. And unless anybody has any
I
objections,
thought it looked better.
that it looked better and that we were going to go ahead and move forward with that final payment. We will need to sign the waiver.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, Dave will get with you and just confirm the exact amount that we need to pay him so we can close that.
Okay,
Close
and,
that grant
and
out.
do I have permission once we get all of Dave's paperwork for me to go ahead and issue that check
I will
without a
make it-
voucher
yeah.
or?
I will make a motion that we approve
And I
paying the
will second
balance.
that.
Okay.
Is there retainage on that?
I'm not sure with Howard. I don't think there was. We're going to get back about $1,000 from our retainer from the company that did the inspections, A&F.
Mhm.
We did have to pay up front for them to be our liaison and work them and verify that they were doing what they were supposed to do and meet the requirements. And he said we should be getting about $1,000 back from that retainer. But we did not have to pay
Retainage, not retainer.
retainage.
Retainage.
Yes.
Are you talking about from
Is-
Howard or for?
Were there grant monies involved with that work?
Yes.
Then there's probably retainage. Talk to your inspector about what the retainage is and for the time period. Normally retainage is 10%.
That may be what he's going to get
It can
with
be any-
you.
It's typically 3 years on road projects,
Mhm.
but I don't know what your contract is. You'll have to read your contract.
Yeah, and,
So
and
you'll
Craig
pay-
Craig handled the upfront part of that, so I'm not really.
Well, I think
If
he's
you're-
saying
if
you
you're
retain
okay
it.
with it, you pay everything but the retainage.
Mhm.
And then the retainage either goes at the end of the 3 years or sometimes it's split in thirds. And essentially what you get to do is look at it in a year and say, yeah, the sealer's still on there. It's not peeling off.
We'll ask
So
about that.
that
Thank
will
you.
be a question. Thank you. That's good to know.
You're welcome.
This is our first ceiling project.
All NDOT projects and government funded grant projects have retainage.
Okay, so that's good to know. Well, that might be what Dave's going to get with you when he didn't call it that.
He should be able to advise you on exactly on what those amounts are because he should be aware of the contract.
You might call it.
Yeah.
So I can't remember, did our contract with Avenue
Well,
include this
all that's
post work?
NDOT projects.
Oh,
I do
that's
know.
well. I don't know whether we're gonna get another bill from him or not.
I work on a job that gets done and then I don't get my last 10% for 3 years.
I used to be the one holding those funds.
Any other
Yes, I have to-
Any other thoughts or comments? That's good. Thank you, Adam, with regard to the road work. The landscaping maintenance. We have hired a company that's kind of doing things. Again, I don't know what there are several of those bushes that are gonna die. If I clearly take a look at my yard, not somebody who does a really good job with that. So, I mean, if we need to get more, I just would recommend that we get some kind of warranty because we will have replaced almost all of them.
What bushes are you talking about?
The arborvitae at the entrance,
Who put them in?
we hired them or we purchased them from a nursery and then we've had a couple different landscaping company to put them in. And it looked like they were going to take, and then
We also didn't have the irrigation at the time they were put in.
So they can get water?
So I don't know that they got watered in the
Not like they
beginning.
should have been.
Yeah.
We had a lot of rain, so for a while it
Yeah.
didn't matter, but I
Yeah.
think when it got really warm, that's when we started having some issues and it was, nobody was willing to carry a bucket down there to water them.
so the water is available. Though,
Yes.
now, is it?
Now.
Okay,
Yes.
all right,
Yeah.
perfect.
It is now.
Okay. We kind of briefly talked about the circle repairs. We did go ahead and approve them starting now the repairs. The east was done, now the west is back, and it sounds like they've started it then, because I was afraid. We do have one sign that is installed to try to dissuade trucks go around East
That
Drive.
was just a van. I don't know why he hit that. I
was
mean, he blew it fire and everything. I mean, it knocked it out.
was bad. I believe that maybe there might have been on the phone or texting. That's purely a little bit of a substitution since I was there.
What's fascinating is the other circle doesn't get harmed. Why is it?
It does every once in a while, but that
Not
one
like that
seems
one.
to.
Yeah.
It's the traffic to and from the clubhouse,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And on a positive note, the stonemason we're using said he's ordered a lot of extra stone now so that he'll be ready to, so that he'll be ready to go every time we need him.
So we pretty much have him on speed dial.
People who are paying for it, is that right?
Right.
And, yes. Has anybody talked to Chastain's or no?
I have not.
His van was damaged.
I haven't.
Mm.
Yeah,
Was,
Margie
yeah.
saw it.
He's
I
on.
I don't know if
Street.
Mr. Newsom talked to him, but apparently they were standing out there when he hit it.
Yeah, very
Or-
warm down there.
Joe and Ann were,
Well, I know we received the quote
and I believe.
and that was on the
were also.
text thread, but I wasn't there. I don't, who's.
He lied.
Who's going to reach out to him to confirm?
Cheryl? Me.
Because the police come and make a report.
Yes, yeah,
'Cause
we
Joe
have-
was on the phone.
yeah, we have a
They did,
police
yeah, they
report.
said he did. Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
Okay, the sign, we kind of tied that in with the truck signs. One is installed, the second one will be down by Johnson's,
Okay.
trying to say, no large trucks.
Yeah.
Go around East Drive unless you're making a delivery between those two street points, go around East Drive. We're
So
working,
the one there at Honen's Corner, or,
yeah, that's,
sorry, I always go backwards.
yeah.
Yeah, Honen Corner. That's the one that's already
Yes.
installed, and then the other one goes down in front of.
In front of Johnson's. So people leaving the neighborhood will know, don't turn and come on Ulen Boulevard, go East Drive. So hopefully that will,
Will there be a camera then? You talked about cameras before, but at that circle so that they do.
well, that's coming up.
Hold that thought because it's on the
Hold that
agenda.
thought. The status of communication series of the new ordinance requirements.
So that
Sure, I
was,
understand.
Mark was working on sending out some communications. I got to thinking about that and I'll get together with Mark because those are things we could put on the website and we can be driving people to go look at the website rather than sending out, well, we could still send out emails, but it would be a good thing to have on the website as well for future reference, so.
Okay. Streetlight repairs. I do know the lights on Ulen Boulevard or Country Club Drive and the entrance are working. Any others that were out?
Mine is extra bright now. It keeps me awake at night.
Oh, my goodness.
It's working.
Okay, so it
And I know
sounds like
Helen's is
those
working.
have been completed and nobody's seen any others that are out. So it sounds like that, we can mark that off the list.
Do we have a bill? I didn't see any estimate for that. And does anybody get a bill?
I think Mark hired or talked to them. I did not see an estimate.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that Country Club Drive was just the fuse.
He was there several days digging down.
Yeah, I saw that.
The status of the entry signage bids.
Okay, so remember last month I had some questions about each of the two bids. I did
Yes.
send those out to each of the two bidders that had bid so far. By the way, there is a third one still working on his bid. They've reached out a couple of times and saying, yeah, we're going to submit one, but we don't have it yet. But of those two, both companies got back with me and answered questions pretty satisfactorily. I think they actually, one of the bidders wanted to come to this meeting tonight and talk with us, and I thought that was not yet appropriate since the confidentiality of his bid would then be at risk because this is a public meeting.
Okay.
So I dissuaded him from that, but he may want to come. If we make a decision, he is going to want to come and chat with us.
I'm not familiar with what we're doing there.
We are talking about replacing the entry
kind of
pillars
crumbling.
and all
brick.
that are kind of, the brick is kind of falling apart.
Yeah,
And we had several meetings involved in the town, came up with a sign design that says Town of Ulen and Ulen Country Club. It'll be all uplit. It'll be more becoming of an entrance to a country club and the town of Ulen.
And it'll also showcase our historical marker as well.
Yes.
hopefully, so. And there will be some additional landscaping to do once that's in, but right now there's a lot of, one of the challenges is that there's a lot of utilities, pipes and water mains and stuff like that under that corner. So that's
Yeah, the
It's a
entire
challenge.
water main for the town of Ulen is on the right side. Is that east? It's kind of at an angle. The east side, yeah.
Along with about a half a dozen telecommunication ones.
I think they moved, or did they just put the box underground? There used to be a pillar.
It's a spider web.
Okay, yeah, it's a mess. So that has added to the challenge of the entry signs. Next up is the security camera, which we kind of had a little bit of a discussion last meeting. And do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so equipment has been ordered for us to install the first two and to make the necessary computer upgrades to the club's computer so that we can use their network for interconnectivity with the internet. And that was phase one that the town council approved. Now the vendor has gotten back with me to say it would be really good if we're going to do any more exterior cameras to sort of do that installation at once. I said, well, that's not what we hadn't really voted on that yet. But the next question that came up were the parking lot cameras for the clubhouse. And I know last month, Mark had sort of volunteered that we would cover the cost since that was more of a public space and it's, there's people coming and going from the park, through that area and such that that was something that we might be willing to do for the club. We told them we could not do their interior cameras because they also asked about interior cameras around cash registers and, other places in the building. They did confirm that if we're willing to do it, they would like to have those parking lot cameras. So the question at hand for the board was, were we ready to do that yet? Or do you still want to hold off and wait until the first two are installed? Because he is going to be here in the next week or two, putting in the ones at the entrance.
Do we know how many, because I know there were numbers bounced around as to how many cameras that was.
Two.
So
Two exterior cameras.
two exterior for here, and then our two would be at the entrance of Ulen. I think one was going to kind of be going this way and one would be going this way so that we could get at least people coming and going. That if there were any instances, at least we could go back and look at the tape and hopefully get a front view of who it was or a back view of a license plate number. And then we were going to check the quality. So I would like to make the motion and we probably go ahead and get that started and let's go ahead and do the two for us and the two for the parking lot since they're going to let us use their Wi-Fi and their internet.
On the parking lot here, is one over in the employee parking lot and then the other one on the, okay. Okay,
Yes.
When you were saying that, I just was curious as to where
Yes.
it was going. Is there anything that would be going into the pro shop then, or-
Well, that was one of the interior cameras he suggested
Yeah.
was inside the pro shop.
So it's the parking lot outside the pro shop is
Yes.
what we would do, and then the one over here, so anybody parking up this way around the club wouldn't be on the camera, right? Because you have the pro shop parking lot.
I think that's to be, I think,
Because you'd have your pro shop parking lot, and you'd have your cars parked up around the club and down this side, and then you'd have the employees.
I think
Which I think is a good idea.
the
to have
employee
an
parking
employee.
lot was
I think that's a
the
good
main
idea.
one
Protect
that
those
they
guys as
were
much as you can.
interested in.
yeah, there was a concern that it was so dark over there.
It is really dark
So-
over there, and in the wintertime, wow.
Well, they've added parking lights. There are
When do
lights
they
over
add
there.
those, do you know?
Huh?
When did they add those? Just this year?
Last year too.
Because if it's last winter, it was.
Well, there were a lot of times because they were all on the same circuit.
Oh.
Anytime Country Club Drive was out, those lights were
Okay.
also out.
That makes
They've
sense.
now split all that, but the Country Club Drive used to be owned by the club, so they were all on the same circuit. Now the Country Club Drive is owned by the town of Ulen. We have split those out. So they shouldn't, they should be on
Okay.
a separate circuit.
I would also like to say that if we're going to go ahead now with the club, doing some for the club and some for ourselves, that we put together a little letter of agreement with the club. I did some research on this, and there are actually some laws we have to follow when we put cameras in public places. Like we have to put a sign up that says that you're under, there's a surveillance camera, and there are privacy laws as to who can view the footage. So we need to be aware of that, and I think we also ought to have the club sign off that they're aware of that as well, because whoever on the club side is given authority to review that footage, they need to know what the rules are too. So I can put a draft together, but I'd really like us to kind of give that some thought.
Good idea.
Who owns it? If it goes down, who's responsible for fixing it?
Since the bulk of the cameras, well,
I think we should
initially
be
we're going to
clear.
be ours, but yeah, you're right. We probably do need to have some kind of an agreement.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that we're good, thank you.
I also learned that if we have an interlocal agreement with another municipality, that has to be put on to Gateway. But I learned that if you have an agreement with a private entity as well, that's allowed, but you have to have it on paper, and it's got to be uploaded to Gateway too. So if we do formalize an agreement with them, that is something that has to be sent to the state.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
The status of the Plan Commission and BZA orientation.
So I started by asking Emily what dates she had available coming up where we could put a number of people in the room for a couple of hours in the evening. She gave me 6 or 7 dates. I sent those to Bob Clutter. He was only available on one or two of them. But he seems to think we can get through it in one session. I think it's going to be a fire hose of information, but he is suggesting November 4th. That is one of the dates that the facility is available, and Deb Lazier is also available that night. So our facilitator's in place. Now we just have to get the message sent out to the people who need to attend, and I'll do that this coming week.
I will not be able to attend.
Is Deb working with Bob?
Mm-hmm. And then I asked Bob if he would allow me to record. The response was, I'll have handouts, but that's not the discussion. And, if it were me, a handout would not be enough. I'd want to see the recording. So he didn't answer before I came tonight, but I just asked him that question this afternoon.
What time
So
is it on November 4th?
6 or 6:30 was to be determined.
And is that Plan Commission or BZA on that night?
Both.
Both.
And you're on both, so you
I
have
know.
to be. Congratulations.
Hopefully it's far enough out that people can still get it on their calendars. I was hoping to have multiple dates to offer people so that they could tell us what date the most people could attend, but Bob was not
Yeah, I had
available.
it down for
I'm
October
sorry, what
7th.
time was that again?
6 or
That's
6:30.
that's the Henry C. Ulen Foundation meeting.
Oh, but we don't have to go to that. We do.
We do,
Okay.
just the board,
Oh, okay.
different meeting.
Okay.
Public access, update on the public access to records for commercial purposes.
Oh,
That was where people are going to our website and saying, we have public access to your records, send us all your contractors. we're so small. They're just sending it to every town they can find.
Mhm.
I know, I thought it was Bob said we could do an ordinance or something.
There, so that the actual statute says that we can create an ordinance saying that we're going to politely decline all requests for from companies that identify themselves as needing it for commercial purposes. And I think we'd be happy with doing that ordinance. But then Kent last month said, do you need an ordinance? And the language in the statute's a little vague about that. So I emailed the public access counselor. I've not heard back from him.
Okay,
So
so that's on
call
hold.
him. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not urgent, but
Council member liaison activities.
yeah, that was about seeing if we could have a council member sponsor on each of these projects so that I'm not making decisions by myself here.
Well,
Did you guys give any thought to that?
I mean, Mark was handling the landscape.
Landscape.
I've kind of been doing the circle repairs.
Yeah.
Mark was going to install the signs. Communication. I thought you said Mark was doing something, and then you're going to post
He
it
hasn't
on the
gotten very
website.
far with it.
The street light repairs, that should be done, so that one's off. The entry signage, that was probably one that we do not have anyone.
Well, I wonder if we might not want to, given the size of that, if we might not want to hire a project manager again.
Or
For
a
that project.
committee.
Yeah. I think that'd be helpful. 'Cause
It
that's
adds
a
to
lot-
the-
That's a
it
lot
adds-
of
Okay.
parts.
Yeah, it adds to the cost, but
Do we have anyone that we would recommend for that one?
well, it might be worth asking Dave Lancet if that's something that they would do.
His
I did
his
ask-
letterhead said, I thought it said transportation.
I did ask
Oh.
MCOG about it, and they do not do it, unfortunately.
Do you have that letter he handed me?
It's probably in here somewhere.
I mean, we can certainly ask.
And if he- if he-
Yeah, but doesn't it say at the top,
If he doesn't,
transportation and site engineering?
It's a site.
yeah,
Do you
I mean,
have
it's worth asking. He
Do
might
you
be
know
able to.
them, or A&F?
They could. Question is, how much work do you want them to do and when you want them to do it? I mean, and I could provide you a quote for it too. I would think an hour of work reviewing the project after it was completed with the construction documents to see if you got what you were paid for and the quality is good.
Mhm. I don't know. Dave ended up doing more. I mean, he was more hands-on than we thought would be necessary, but
Well, those
Yeah.
government projects, they're required to sit there and watch it and babysit it.
yeah.
Well, and they had to get with residents
This
on
is-
which side of the road to
This is just a
drive on. This is,
landscaping
yeah,
job and replacing a sign, right?
yeah. Well, and the utilities, making sure that,
Yeah.
Contractor's responsible for all of it and build it in accordance with construction documents. I would think it would just be an inspection at the end.
There are some,
Kind of like, that and a punch list. So maybe you got 2 hours wrapped up in it total,
do you want to give us
as
a,
opposed to sitting there watching them. I think that's,
Are they tearing down the brick
it's a little,
pillars?
that's a little cost prohibitive. My bill would be more than their bill if I was sitting there watching. for-
yeah, well,
every minute
again,
of
this
every
won't
day.
be, this is not a grant
I understand.
proposal. I mean, do you want to get us a proposal to do that?
Mhm.
If you're, I mean, you obviously know the engineering behind it, so.
Yeah, I just haven't seen the drawings yet.
okay.
Okay.
We'll send you what we have.
The security camera would be the next project.
You were, could you do that one? You were on in
I
the
could-
conversation.
Yeah, I could try and do that.
And I can do the communications with Mark.
Okay.
I've got the distribution list and the website access and everything. It makes more sense probably for me to do that one.
All right. And then, well, the Plan Commission, the BZA, Kent is the president.
So it's not really anything we have to babysit.
Right, it shouldn't be
Okay.
at this point. So we can ask him. So that is at this point, all of the current projects.
Thank you.
Ordinance, there was some discussion last meeting on motorized bicycles, which is everything from e-bikes to ATVs to dirt bikes. There's multiple towns that are having issues because it has now all become very blurred as to what is a street vehicle, what's on sidewalks, what's the age. And I know we were going to have some discussion about an ordinance. Were you able to find any information?
I thought, was Bob working on that or no?
So yeah, the last conversation, Mark and I had both pulled some information, and then I think in the last meeting we decided let's kick this can to Bob, because
That's what I thought.
whether it becomes part of the current ordinance or whether it's a separate one, and we did pass that information on. I have not heard anything back. I don't know if anybody else is talking to him about it.
Yeah, I thought, if I recall from the discussion, it was primarily, we want to be consistent with what Lebanon is, because you've got people going in and out of Lebanon
Right.
while you're in the town of Ulen.
And I believe, is Lebanon the one that has one already? Did
That's
Lebanon
what we
have
were
one
asking
already?
Bob, because
I believe
we went
they
out
do,
of-
which is why they picked up the other bikes, because it was breaking the city codes.
Yeah.
right. And like I said, lots of towns have said they're working on ordinances, and they have to be very specific about speeds and size of the
Motor.
motor, or the battery. It's all kinds of things. Yeah.
Do
So-
we still think it's enough of a problem for us to do something about?
It's
Well,
only,
I'm quieter right now. I don't know why, but
it's what?
it's a
quiet.
quieted down quite a bit.
Actually, as I was walking over, I
Uh-oh. Got one?
was standing at the circle looking at the damage, and two of them went whipping.
What? Oh my goodness. Oh, no, it's
And that's
not.
the first time I've seen any bikes for a while, so I
Yeah.
don't know, but.
I would recommend that we go ahead and get something, because as
Oh,
soon
I
as
think
spring
so.
comes
Yeah, I
around,
think now people are back into school sports and
Right.
activities.
It's
and
not
not
less,
as
but
much
clearly
as-
it's not totally gone.
So what is the town of Lebanon's criteria for that?
that's what we've asked for them
To
to
find
provide. What does Lebanon have? What are their definitions of, a motorized vehicle, a
I mean,
motorized
they're
bike?
legitimate on the street, I think, it's just how they behave and stuff, and then there's age limits too, isn't there?
There are some, but then there's, dirt bikes are those, are
Yeah.
those supposed to be on streets?
No.
Motorized
Yeah.
scooter things. I don't know what you call those. Where
They've
you
they've
stand
got
on 'em.
Oh, yes, yes.
they've got golf carts have now kind of morphed into ATVs and
Oh, yeah.
vehicles. So I mean, there's
There's a lot.
there's a lot of blurred lines that didn't exist when everybody said, oh, you can get a golf cart permit or it's an e-bike.
And then who enforces it? Because where we moved to here, but man, we had some trouble and we called the cops and, I don't know if anybody did anything about it because they were always out there again. So-
That's a really good question. Who would enforce it?
Well, for us, it would be the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Though when you call, they often send Lebanon. I mean, like I know when people have hit the circles, it's the Lebanon Police Department that shows up.
Last time on Sunday,
even though-
it was Boone County Sheriff's.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? I mean,
Yeah.
anytime I've called the police on the circles, I've called the sheriff's department,
Well, you.
or the dispatcher,
Yeah,
the
usually
police.
if if you're calling 911,
Well,
they're gonna disperse whoever
Right.
is available, whether it be city or sheriff. We were always,
I
we
didn't.
always
I didn't call
the sheriff.
911. It wasn't an emergency.
Yeah.
I called the normal number that
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
they-
they get the sheriff.
Yeah. And then they send whoever has time or is close.
Mhm.
So, but we are under the jurisdiction of the sheriff's department since we are outside of Lebanon city
It
limits.
can't hurt to have something on
Bob,
it.
Bob will
Sure.
probably know more about it because he's in touch with what the assembly's doing.
Yes.
But the whole electronic vehicle thing is being revisited by the legislature. So they're gonna define battery and motors and speeds on electric vehicles because they already define what is a street legal vehicle that must be licensed and what isn't. And then what isn't falls under the local jurisdiction on whether or not they're gonna create a law and enforce it. So it's kind of up in the air.
And when are they gonna do that? This next
Truth be-
session, next,
Truth be told, yeah, I don't depend on the legislature coming up with any law that benefits me or our town. I have no faith in them these days. But point being, the problem will resolve itself. If somebody's being that reckless, they'll end up being reckless to the point where they can't be reckless anymore. So it'll self-fix the problem. When I was a kid, it was mini bikes.
yeah.
Now it's electric bikes.
When I was a kid, it was horses.
We had roller skates, I don't know.
Skateboards.
Yeah. Skateboards.
And then the last item is the sewer work project. We had Lebanon Utilities come after the smoke test and give us an update. They have been very busy. They have not gotten back with us with regard to what's Lebanon Utilities, what's Ulen, and what's residents. But they have started knocking on some doors or have started speaking.
There seems to be some work going on. Is that related?
That's the-
Because it is Lebanon Utilities.
The ones that were digging the holes there in
Yeah.
Mark's yard today, that's the water, because they did mine, and then they did Richardson's next door, and then Mark's on down, and then it looks, from their markings, it looks like they're.
They marked the
into
people
White
across
next.
the street from us.
Yeah, because Mark's was pretty extensive.
Yeah.
They were really dug deep and had a ladder down in there, but they did mine, and then they're replacing something to do with the water equipment. So, I had asked them to do mine before they did the other two, since I was getting a new driveway. I didn't want them to come in and bust up my new driveway after they did that. So, they were nice enough to go ahead and do mine, but mine, they did not dig down like they did Mark's. I mean, good Lord, they were down in there, so.
So is this the lead pipe water issue or what's the water
Whatever
issue?
the water, whatever the guy, all the guy said to me is that they were replacing equipment.
Oh.
Because they looked at my water meter and then they dug a big hole and they looked down, and they said, yeah, that's what we got to replace.
And they contacted you?
No, I was in the driveway one day when they pulled up.
Oh, I'm not familiar
Max
with.
was attacking.
I'm not familiar with the water project. Anybody else?
I really
I don't
didn't.
know.
They were kind of backing up and down, and they finally said, do you know where your water meter thing is? And I said, you mean right here? And he goes, oh, yeah.
They did something with
And they
ours
got
that was like
out,
4
and
years
then they
ago.
came and looked at it, and he said they were all along there were, because they did the same thing where Richardson's water meter is right there by the driveway, and then Mark's was taken out today.
Okay. Well, that must be a different project than obviously
think they're
the
doing new
storm
things
smoke.
them.
Yeah, this had anything to do with
Okay.
this.
Has anybody, I don't know if anybody was on that list or has had any
On the
impact
sewer thing, no.
with the smoke? Okay, you have, well, obviously we have your proposed, is that what or are you actually on the list too?
I'm on the list.
So have they come and spoken with you or what? So no update?
I'll take care of it.
Okay. Can you elaborate? I know you sent to us a scope of professional services. They had recommended that we get an updated map. This is from 1930, where the sewers are, where the storms are, where the water mains are, all that. I read through, I sent you a couple of comments. I don't know if you saw them, Adam.
Fortunately, I didn't, but I'll respond to it.
Okay, well, the biggest thing is, we can't do any kind of contract unless we at least have some like not to exceed. There's no amounts or anything in here.
Understood.
Okay,
I wanted to make sure the scope was correct before I send you a quote to do the work.
Okay.
so is this,
The scope's more in the first couple paragraphs.
so you were, I mean, obviously the streets, curbs, sidewalks, roundabouts, signs, light poles, abandoned electrical manholes, storm sewer structures, light pole conduits, and other utilities that are within the right of way. That's the part.
Yes.
Um,
And then specifically, the surveying part is under topographic survey,
yeah, which was the,
which is that paragraph. And then the exclusions and other future work is down in the last ones.
do you have any idea? I mean, I think that was the scope of just knowing where is everything that we have. I know we've talked about hiring this private service to locate the streetlights. That was kind of tied with the project to get them with, what's the holy moly number? 911? 811. 811, too many. Can we tie this together with that project?
And that's mentioned in there too.
I didn't
There's-
see
there's a-
it. Oh, to find and mark what find and mark what 811 will not locate. But
What I'll do is, on that particular issue, what I've told you is what their going hourly rate is. What I'll do is I'll get them a map and I'll say, what kind of time frame do you think it would take to locate those conduits between the light poles and then the short run to both of our meters? And then they'll give me an hour that they expect to do it. So I'll have an estimate for their work. And then if you guys agree to my scope of services there, and all of you take a chance to read the whole thing. If you got a question, let me know and I'll respond back to all of you. And then based off of that, knowing that you guys are knowing what you're getting, I know what I got to provide, then I can put numbers to it and say,
Yeah.
this is what it'll take to get the job done. And then
Now-
that proposal I'll bring back to you and we can agree to continue from that.
You've had some conversations with Cameron and Ryan, right?
Yes.
So they gave you some input about what they needed or wanted, or,
Yes,
okay,
I have their report,
Okay.
which specifies 3, 4, 5 items that we need to fix.
so when we,
Which, having this plan will identify exactly what the problem is.
Mhm.
You know, this will be the survey. You know, once we hear back from them, this is what we think's Ulen's private, and we don't know. Then we'll be able to take this survey of the infrastructure, knowing everything we have, and we have our good map to decide, okay, well, we're gonna repair these items, or we need to do some drawings to repair these items and go out and get some pricing to fix them. And then we can categorize them based on budgetary needs and priorities. But the first step of all this is we gotta have a good map to work from. We gotta know where everything's at.
can we then take this map and get it to the utility locator so that everything will be located when they come out? So people don't go, oh, I've got to call
When-
a primary or a private locator for,
There's 2 steps to that. One, Mark is already working on belonging to IUPPS as the town of Ulen. There's an application that I provided to him, that he's working on that. So there's the notification part, and then there's the going out and marking it part. My map will be integral to whoever's doing the mapping to be able to go out and locate it, because it'll already be on the map. And then they'll just go out and spray paint the locations just like the contractors do after you call 811. But that'll either be ran and paid for by the town of Ulen on that hourly rate, or the town of Ulen, if we have somebody that's pulling a permit for construction, I would think that would be something that the town of Ulen would want to charge that person. You know, somebody's doing a project similar to yours. They're doing a building addition and redoing their driveway, and they got pull permit for it. Well, they're gonna call 811 before they go out and do their work. We're gonna know that they're pulling a permit because they've gone through our development plan review process. And then that's something that we can pass on to them. And it would just be an hour or 2 work for the utility to go out and locate the utilities that are the towns, which would primarily be the storm and the light pole conduits.
And maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I thought there was a way to get all of them to 811 so that when you called, you got private and public.
They notified it, but on the public work, they would call, like for instance, let's use that example. She's doing a building addition in a driveway. She or her contractor calls 811. 811 looks at the map area, looks at all the utilities in that area and sends a notice out to them. Whether it be the city of Lebanon for the sewers, the city of Lebanon for the water, AT&T, Verizon, CenterPoint, Lebanon Utilities for the power, on and on and on. And then one of those that are notified is the town of Ulen. So at that point, it's the town of Ulen's responsibility to get on the phone with their locator and say, go out and mark our services at this address. So we would pay them by the hour to go out and do that and mark those up. And they would be marked up in pink because they're a private locate service. And all private locate service markings are done in pink. So you would have the pink work done out there on the job site, along with the gas company who's gone out there and spray painted yellow. Lebanon Utilities has been out there working on the electric, which is red, and all the other little colors of the rainbow that everybody has to agree.
Water's blue.
And then sanitary and storm is confusing because they're both marked in green.
And then telecommunications.
Right.
I have memorized.
So when 811 is called, the town of Ulen would be notified. And they aren't notified unless you fill out all the paperwork and you become a member of IUPPS.
Okay. I have no idea where Mark is. When did you give him that application? Because we've talked about this for,
Sometime last year.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's been a while.
Might have to check in there.
We might need to get that again.
Now that I'm doing other work, I'll try to help him
Okay.
finish that up.
Okay, because we do need to get on that so that if, now that we have a permitting process,
Right.
we need to make sure that people don't hit any of those private utilities.
If we use the same outfit and they come out and locate it, they're gonna have data, they'll have my data. So their time that they spend coming out to locate our light pole conduits and storm sewers will be minimal because we'll have a really good plan for them to work from.
We're gonna have to leave. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank
Thanks for being
you.
here.
Thanks for coming. Well, yeah, I mean, I think your proposal then, the scope.
Scope, yes.
The scope is good. Okay. I wasn't clear because it specifically said the estimated sum below, and I'm like, there's no
There
estimated sum.
was, yeah, you caught me. I have to take that part of it.
So anyway, yes, I am in agreement with the scope. I think given all the things that we have going on so that we can get it for locate, that we would like to have you present a proposal.
And then we're available to do the work here over the winter.
Do you, I mean, obviously if it's over, I mean, I don't have any idea how much we're guesstimating this to be. Do we need to get other bids? Or will this be under?
Professional services don't have to have bids unless you'd be up to the board.
Okay.
But if it's up to the board, I would ask that you send them the same scope of services so you can compare apples to apples.
Okay, I did not know the professional. I thought it was everything, but you're more in tune on that
There,
than I am.
I know legal services, you can, you don't have to,
Yeah, they're the same as us as a professional.
Okay, so
consultant.
any professional service from that standpoint. Okay. Well, we
Just like you
obviously
would in
like to
accounting.
use our local residents.
Anybody with letters after their name. If you needed a
Hey,
doc-
have you seen a
if
real
you
estate
needed a
agent?
doc-
They got lots of
Yeah.
letters.
if you needed a doctor. Real estate agents are not professional consultants. They have technical licenses.
Okay. Well, I would request that you proceed with providing a proposal. New business, consideration of engaging an IT consultant.
yeah, I just, I wanted to speak with both of you about that, when I got that new printer, a little $300 printer, it took me a full day to get it talking to my computer. And we have no access to, I have no access to IT.
Yeah.
We've now got a website. We've got a different server handling email. We've got a different location where we store files, not particularly secure and probably not to state standards. I've been told that IoT, the state office is going to, by 2026 or 2027, is going to ask all municipalities to have an IT plan in place that covers things like cybersecurity and making sure everybody is, compliant with normal government standards.
Yeah.
Um,
More IT every day.
yeah. So the question is, can I start looking for a consultant and find somebody that could work with us on that? We desperately need a more secure storage place for files, more accessible. We need to consolidate some of the different sites we've got stuff on.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
I would think AIM would be a good place to start, asking some of the smaller towns
What they do.
what they're doing or how they're doing that, because they seem to have been a really good resource based on the responses or the emails that I've been copied on.
Okay, well, I will try and have something for you in the next month or two. Same thing with payroll service. I'm going to go ahead and start doing some research on payroll services. I have a couple of names. I haven't called them yet, but I'll let you know what I find from that so we can vote on that next month. And then the ADA compliance, I was telling Jennifer, we didn't do anything about ADA compliance. I was told that if we want any CCMG funds next year, we have to turn something in by October 1st, which is like immediately.
What do we need to comply on?
We have to have a plan in place and a procedure in place for how to deal with complaints. I did see, the reason it even came to my attention was because I saw the listserv came through where somebody was asking about that and some folks sent samples. They're not complicated documents. And I could probably, you pull something up on AI pretty quickly and then have it looked at by Bob or somebody and put something in place by October 1st. The question is, are we okay with knowing we won't apply for any grants next year, or do we want to put something, even if it's not perfect, in place so that we could say we have it?
And it's just the process of handling a complaint, or
that's most of it. I mean, there are a few other. I can.
Do you have any expertise on that?
Let's see.
A little.
You're a resident expert.
Bob is your best source on the complaint avenue.
There is an ADA compliance officer on the Lebanon website, and the email bounces every time I've tried to send something to, because I was wondering if we could just attach ourselves to that person, and we do have to have a compliance officer assigned.
The streets, right away, and sidewalks are owned by the town of Ulen. Town of Ulen has to be able to address it if somebody makes a complaint. So Bob can take care of the complaint, or the, worst case scenario, there's an injury that OSHA is involved and contacted, or attorneys are involved, and you're put on notice that you're part of a claim. As far as the town repairing sidewalks and fixing and identifying problems and creating ADA ramps where there aren't any, by starting the survey that identifies where your problems are and if you have problems. So again, the survey that we're talking about for the infrastructure is the base map for identifying and fixing problems. Once the problem's identified, you have a reasonable time frame of getting out there and repairing that problem if it's been brought to your attention. And I think the courts recognize a couple of years. They like to see it within a year, but you have up to 2 years. The reason they have the extended period is because then, let's say we have a hole in the middle of a walk that is a trip hazard that's been brought to our attention. And that hole is in the middle of where you would have an ADA ramp that's not currently there.
Okay, we're, at this point, we're not talking even about addressing any problems. We're talking about having to have a plan in place.
The plan for the complaints. And then you have the survey that is your base map. And then if you have a problem that you want to fix, the next time you're making a grant for road work, that can be included in it. So whether you want to redo all of the intersection ADA ramps across the board as a town, or if you just want to identify, fix the ones that you have a problem, you can attach either one to the grants to the road work in the future as part of the construction documents.
So what this says is that the federal law says a public entity that employs 50 or more persons, which that doesn't count there, but it says the INDOT's ADA transition plan update says an ADA transition plan must include a designation of an ADA coordinator, public notice of ADA rights, grievance procedure, self-evaluation, and a transition plan with a schedule and responsible parties. That's all we have to do. And that
And it
seems,
could be any one of the board members.
yeah, it could be.
Oh, boy.
But I looked at some samples that people were sharing. They weren't complicated documents. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
for our
not.
size, it
It's
would be
not.
nothing.
So is there a reason not to have something? I mean, we could make a motion to at least do a base document. So if something came up, we would have it by October 1st.
Well, that's the question. Do we want to do that? Because I can start it, but I could sure use some help if we know who should look it over and sort of say, yeah, this looks good to me, and we're checking all the boxes.
Well, the only person who would have any expertise in it, it sounds like, is Bob.
Correct.
I mean, that may be something that we would want to, draft it, run it by him, and just make sure it checks all those boxes.
And he's got about 4 days to do it. So
Right. Yeah.
I believe you can submit a draft and it would be in compliance. And then you can follow
Perhaps.
it up
Yeah,
with an
perhaps.
official document.
Okay. Well, then I'll make a motion that we at least submit a draft.
Submit a draft.
So
And what
that
is-
in the event that we need to
What
apply
all
for a
of it
grant, we have
does
it.
is it keeps you out of additional liability if you ignored it and somebody trips and hurts themselves on the town of Ulen property and you haven't made any attempt to comply. Your exposure is a lot higher as opposed to where if you have a plan in place, then your liability and your exposure shrinks dramatically. To the point where you can
That makes
even have your own expert that can dispute it and go to court against them and fight your battles against them instead of just paying out to insurance companies or attorneys that are sending you threatening letters.
A happy day.
it's going to be skinny between now
Yeah.
and the
Well, I mean,
first.
it sounds like as long as we're starting, I mean, I think, again, getting the survey will help identify some of the issues. I mean, even our sidewalks that are handicap accessible probably don't comply because they don't have the little rumble strips,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And you don't have to do work on them until there's been an identified problem. Like I said, there has to be a definitive trip hazard or somebody has made a grievance. I'm walking down the sidewalk and I don't like the big bump in the sidewalk because it's more than a half an inch. There's some rules and regulations to it, but
Okay.
So the other question I have is, do we have to have town council adoption of that plan before we can post it? I bet we do.
I think we're having a draft.
If it's a draft,
Draft.
that's your workaround. Because there's no way you can sit there and type it right now and pass an
Yeah,
ordinance without
yeah.
having your legal expert look at it. I
Right.
wouldn't recommend that.
But if we have a
I just-
draft,
we have
we
a
can
draft.
submit the draft and then we can approve it.
And if they reject
is.
it, they reject it. You'll be in next year.
Okay. All right.
You never know.
We at least made an attempt.
Yeah.
Any other new business? Have we not had enough?
Let me invite. We've got a couple people online. Let me unmute everybody and make sure that if there are any questions, we are.
I do have a question about that box, the utility box in front of Mrs. Kerr's house, or it's on the.
I'm sorry.
But it looks cool because like it looks kind of new. It's only since 2022. Like,
Sorry.
not how people even know about it. Well, it is is it associated with the university? No, it's its own little thing. Independent. So.
So I've unmuted everybody. If you have a question for the board and you're online, could you could feel free to jump in? Anybody got a question or an issue?
This is Helen Million. Just a courtesy reminder from the SCORE Reenactment Committee. They would like the town of Ulen to know they'll be setting off their cannon at 2 p.m. on Saturday and 2 p.m. on Sunday. They had some complaints last year and they just want to do a courtesy reminder.
Helps with the dogs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can see that in the order.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good to know.
Okay.
Cheryl, you had,
Well, my question was, there's a
Yeah,
utility tax. I don't know
Residency in cold weather, that turned out to be okay.
if it's hers
Great
now,
fellowship in New York.
maybe the lot, but it's like the lid on it. Kind of broke.
I would think that would be Lebanon Utilities.
Yeah, David took a picture of it the other day and it popped into my head. You walk by there, right?
Yeah,
You've seen it.
I had one of these before and I called the utilities office and so
Yeah.
they end up being the Comcast or something and
It's
you know
huge.
where they'll come out and do it.
Maybe a lot of wildlife.
We need to try utilities
Yeah.
office.
Okay.
You know, I went through it.
Very wolves,
Ended up being the cable TV guys.
cats.
They don't
Okay.
do anything.
Yeah, well, somebody's gonna fall in it.
That's,
Oh,
that's,
they
no,
Recovery.
I think that's raw nature right there.
They will do something about it if you tell them you're just gonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell
They'll come out and
us, tell
fix
us,
it
that
then.
we- yeah, hopefully we put dirt on.
We're
But
gonna
you
fill
gotta-
it so nobody falls
You
in.
have to identify who owns it.
It's in Tennessee. You know what it's Tennessee stands for, right?
I'll
it's
just
the-
go look. David saw it.
Watershed.
I know I've seen it
Mhm.
walking by.
Yeah, I have to.
Well, if it's
Just
the
haven't paid attention.
big green ones, that would be Lebanon
I guess
Utilities.
because I always thought it was off to the side, so I guess I thought, we'd
Yeah.
getting in trouble with that.
You just never know.
Yeah, that's true.
Just never know.
Any other new business?
That's all I have.
Clerk Treasurer? Any other
No.
new business? Then the meeting is adjourned at 7:39.
Woohoo.
Woohoo! Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question, Mary, she stopped recording, and you want to say anything before?
It may still be on.